Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. We're going to get into some stuff today. Sorry, I've been so sick the past couple weeks. Just feel I got to do this show today. So mind my voice, mind everything that's going on outside, coughing, sneezing, you name it. But if you read the title, we're going to talk about religion versus spiritualism. And they're separate, even though some people say they're the same. I don't know how you can compare two things that are so opposite, completely different, but people try to. And people use the word spiritual like they have a clue what it really means, which to me is like mind-boggling because they have no idea what it means. So we're going to start with religion. Since it's probably the most populated path on the planet, two religions are. There's 2,000 at least, but only two of them have the giant numbers of people that follow them. One is Christianity, and the second is Muslims. All the other religions have less and less and less people. All right. Then we go down to, we'll get into the occults and everything else later. But as far as religions, all right, there's Catholics, Protestants, Jewish religion. The Muhammad follow one religion, and they all have different ideas of what their God is. Moses was never a god. Angels are not God. So where were they created? How were they created? By man. No matter what path you try to follow, they were all created by man. Men and men and men and more men. All right. And even when they created a path, they change it to fit their ego and make it fit to the way they want it to fit. So Christianity has 2.5 billion people. So out of all of them, is there any that know who and what God is? Can talk about God? I've been in this all my life, so it's not like a new thing for me. But I studied 14 religions, realizing not one of them could talk about God, except the fairy tale God, which is Christianity. The loving being that sits up there, watches everything you do, protects you, and does all these things. The most ridiculous idea created by man, all right, to think that God has to watch what you do and protect you from what? What you do, what you create, all right? Then we got, okay, after that, we have different religions, like the Catholics and Protestants are separate in a lot of different things, but they still believe in the same God, but they added Jesus to it and called Jesus God. Well, I'll debate anybody on the planet on that one. I'll put my life on the line because Jesus never said he was God, never while he was alive. I mean, there's one sentence in the Bible where it says, he and I are one, but that's not meaning he is God. We're all one with God if we become aware of God and understand God. But that doesn't happen to many people, or any that I know of in any kind of big numbers. All right. We got what? 8 billion people on the planet. How many of them even know what a God is? I mean, I was just talking to my partner, and he's a Buddhist, and I was talking about Buddhism. The oldest religion on the planet is Buddhism. Really, it's Hinduism, which actually became Buddhism. It's splintered. They took some of the deities and then created a new path from there. Hinduism is anywhere from 15 to 25 centuries before Jesus was born. All right. Buddha came out about 6 centuries before Jesus was born. But there was actually 28 Buddhas in different time frames. So there's a lot of different Buddhas. The teachings probably stay very much the same or very not, unless you know them all and what they were actually teaching then, because man changes everything to fit their ego and the way they think, the way they want to think, like what God is, what God does, why God came and taught us and teach us what, name anything. Jesus came here for a reason, never said he was God, came here to teach. But what did he teach, people? Christianity has no clue. Out of the 2.5 billion Christians on the planet, how many have a clue of what Jesus was really teaching? Oh, he taught love. How do you teach love? He taught about protection. Who's getting protected? He talked about forgiveness. Who's getting forgiven? All right. What did he really teach? He had 9 disciples, then it went to 13. But what was he teaching his disciples? And what were they teaching? Well, they were all, well, most of them were killed. Mary Magdalene, which was his wife, moved to France eventually, and so did Thomas, went to India. The only two that actually escaped being killed and everything else along the way. But I'm going to get into that later because, Jesus had abilities. He was an ascended master, and there's not many ascended masters on this planet and never were. To become an ascended master, not ascending, meaning like when you die, you ascend into heaven. Ascension means going through a certain ritual, ceremony, everything else with that, to become an aware being of God. At that point, you have 32 different psychic abilities. Name one person on the planet that has any of them at any kind of level that they can actually use it. All right. Many people claim this, that, even levitation. There's nobody on this planet that can levitate. Well, I levitated. Somebody spent the whole part of his lifetime driving around, flying around, and everywhere on the planet trying to find somebody that can actually levitate. And he ended up going to Tibetan mountains, and this Buddha Lama, was sitting in a room, and he was on the other side of the room, and he levitated like 2 inches. But if you can levitate a pencil, a paper, or yourself, you can do anything you want. But that's not possible. I was a magician for 25 years, stage magician, and a magician as well. A white witch for a word. And I learned about psychic abilities. They're real, but they cannot be used wisely on this planet right now. They can't. Not one of them. If you change one thing, you change in reality. You don't have the ability or the right to do that anymore because you don't know the right step to take, what the right movement is, the right action is. If you knew God, you might know a little more, but do you know what God wants you to actually do? Oh, save the planet. How? Help people. How? You can't make people do anything. You can't teach them anything. They don't want the truth. And people that stay here, well, we'll have good luck with that one because, when we deal with our karma, which is an important word, Buddha gave credit for that word, which is important because it came before Jesus did. Karma means cause and effect. Basically, what you create, you have to pay back for. And no, they believe and religions believe, oh, you can do 100 Hail Marys and be forgiven, or you can do a meditation, or you can do a tantra, or you can do this or that and get rid of your karma. No, you can't. Begging for forgiveness? I just killed 10 people. Oh, I'm so sorry. Really? You'll reincarnate many times to pay that karma off, no matter what you think, no matter who tells you what, no matter where you get your ideas from. Well, somebody told me on the internet. Who? What? Where did it come from? Who is he? Who's that being? What makes you think he knows anything? Spirits and entities like to talk to people. Possession has become incredibly high, and abduction has become incredibly high now. 2 different things that affect the world greatly and different than the way it used to be. All right, so when we go into Hinduism, again, they worship about 125 deities, roughly. And then Buddhism took different deities. They kept 1 or 2. Like Green Tara is one that stays with all Hindu Buddhists and everybody else. But again, they believe it's like their higher self, that it's all an illusion. Why live in an illusion? Why be in an illusion? Why be a nothing? Why have horrible nightmares to go through pain and suffering and watch people die? Why? Is that pleasurable for you? Might be. Most people reincarnate because they love here. They love it here. Sex, drugs, music, sports. Nothing about God. Nothing about higher realms and dimensions. But you got science playing to get into a dimension, which they didn't do yet. CERN is trying to get into our alternate dimension, playing with a machine that has a magnetic field more gross, more powerful than the planet itself. Making suits to jump through this hole into this vortex, what they think is going to happen. They're playing games. They're playing with the physical world, physical energy. Everything in science is based on the vibration of this reality, not the next one. So when you talk about demons, spirits, and entities, they're not the same. They don't function, vibrate, or even project the same vibration that we do here. So all these scientists and New Age shows, ghost shows, and alien shows, well, the Skinwalker Ranch is getting to a lot of vibrations and stuff, but they're going to see aliens soon enough. They're going to bug them to the max. They are right now. Aliens want to be public, they will come out and say hi. Why should they? They do what they want without anybody bugging them in most cases. Now that everybody has a camera, they can film them a lot more. Even though they have technology beyond ours, if we're going to go film them, they can just blink out and you can't see them. But sometimes they let people film them. They don't care sometimes. It depends what ship it is, what race it is. There's multiple races here. Trump doesn't believe in them, but Putin told them to talk about aliens. Putin said there's 27 alien races. One of the top speakers in the UFO world, who's no longer with us, Bob Dean, talked when he was in top service, there was 27 alien races. All right. Working with the government. So if they're working with the government, they're not working with the people and they're not good. Period. Oh, there's good and bad in everything. Yeah, good and bad. Name good people on planet Earth. Musk, Gates, the multi-billionaires that do nothing for the planet. Who are you saying are good people? I wanted to get in a few things today, but I don't want to lose my show. They will take it right down if I say one word about certain things. I'm sorry, I'm going to do a show on Raytheon, and I'll say everything I want there because they don't block it. All right, but getting back to where we are right now. Religion is dying. Oh no, there's what? How many billions of people in it? So, does that mean it's growing? You can get more people to follow something, but that doesn't mean it's growing anywhere or becoming anything better than what it says it is. All right. Now we have, separate from that is called New Age. I call it New Age religion. They say they're spiritual. Use the word spiritual. Christians use it. Everybody uses the word spiritual, but they have no meaning to it. Oh, I'm spiritual. What makes a person spiritual? They pray. They worship what? All right. All through history, Hinduism, they were into sex. The deities were heavy sex beings, and it was all about that. It had nothing to do with God. People, you study history, you'll get some facts, but you need to learn to do a few things in this reality to get into a higher realm when you leave this reality, die. But we'll get into that a little bit later if we have time. So when we talk about New Age people, we got new things that came out. I mean, it was mediums and words in the old days. Now it's psychics and clairvoyants and all kind of new words that aren't new, but they gave them all words. Healers, medicine people, shamans, all these New Age words. Mean what? They're powerful. They can do. Playing with energy is not spiritual. If I start a fire, that's playing with energy. Does that make me a miracle worker? In the old days, it would have. If I could predict a solar eclipse, that would make me a spiritual being or a psychic, and they'd be afraid of me. See, certain things happen, and if you're aware of that, you can predict it, and then you become a psychic. But then again, psychics don't have the ability in any great level to change reality. Again, psychic abilities are not to be played with in our time frame. I mean, in the UFO world, there's a person claiming she can levitate and change people's DNA. People claim a lot of things. People say they can bring people up on a galactic Federation ship. I mean, that's where religions and New Age religions are going. Now, I'm not going to go into some of the things I just found out. It's about the Muslims and who really worships aliens. Farrakhan, I don't remember that name. He actually talked about aliens in his closed-in room. No white people were allowed inside it, period. I call that prejudice, don't you? But people, we're dealing with reality of science and technology, which is destroying the planet. Nobody on this planet is talking about the real reasons for global warming. Not one person. Oh, fires. Oh, cars. Oh, gasoline. Oh, this. No, that's not the reason. And it's not natural either. The government has so many weapons right now that aliens gave to them because of Mr. Tesla. Tesla wasn't a genius, people. Oh, we're going to take his brain like Einstein and see what they were working with aliens, whether you want to know it or not. Tesla came out with 200 inventions. He didn't go to Schmo College and come out with all that knowledge. He didn't create time travel out of his stupid little brain. He was given it. And basically, that's what's destroying our history right now. I can go on to the weapons that he gave to the government, which is basically number one weapon is the HAARP system, HAARP. All right. But the newer one that they're playing with is D, directed E energy, W weapon, directed energy weapon. One of the most dangerous weapons on the planet right now. I don't want to get into weapons. They're pathetic, sick, and mankind is evil. All of them. To think you have the right to kill somebody in another country is totally ludicrous. I mean, I dealt with Barbara Max Hubbard claiming that if you go to another country, it's okay to kill people. Really? These people claim to be spiritual. I mean, the Ten Commandments are a spiritual step. They're only a way to live life. They weren't like the foundation of spiritual truth. It didn't even mention the word love. It meant respect and honor. But it doesn't go into a lot of different things. And children need to be honored just as much as they have to honor their children. I mean, the children have to honor their parents, but it has to be vice versa as well. And that doesn't go on in a normal relationship and family. Children were never respected. Barely are now. They're pushed in the corner and stuck with a computer. But getting back to the word religion and New Age people think they can change everything by talking to the universe. Universe, make it rain. Universe, make me age 100 years for every 1 year. Universe, really, people? Universe can't do nothing. It's a part of the system. And the molecular structure, protons, neutrons, electrons, how we all are, and we all float around in this gyro spinning unit. All right? Doesn't make anybody better. Money doesn't help anybody. Ego doesn't help anybody. All right. Why are we here? New Age people believe one thing, we're going to make the world better and make this become six-dimensional beings. Really? You're going to look over the body and become what? A light object? No, you're not. Not in this body, not in this reality. Ghosts and spirits are here. They're in a different vibration than we are, but they're in the lowest vibration there is next to being human. Because they can't go to the higher realm of God. They can't get past the astral plane or even stay in it. They're reincarnating back to this planet. All right. You know, people want to follow religion. Well, my religion has what? Nothing. Protection. Nobody's protected on this planet in this reality. There's exceptions where spirit moves in, angels move in. God doesn't. God doesn't play in hell. God does not play in hell. Jesus doesn't play in hell anymore either. He dealt with that. Why would he come back to deal with Satan or negative people and everything else that would be? He'd be killed in a short period of time as well. All right. So when we go into religion versus spiritualism, there's such a difference. Religion deals with Jesus mostly, who was a man who had 32 psychic abilities. He went through ascension. He was teaching one thing. Read my book, True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization. What was he teaching? Oh, you got to love each other. What's that mean? Love didn't exist before 2020 years ago. Do you know that? It was never mentioned in history. Compassion was the word they used, but women were never respected. And they're still not, people. What planet do you live on? What do you get your false, twisted truth from? I'm a minister, and I'm going to tell you men are idiots, fools, ridiculous, egotistical, crazy people. What is their important things in life? Money, fame, sports, sex, drugs. What else? A preacher goes on preaching about the Bible, written by a bunch of men writing stories. Jesus' followers, out of all of them, he only had about 2 that could actually write. And they weren't writing shorthand either. People, all the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, all right, only 2 of them were really disciples. 2 of them were evangelists. People, you don't even know that. Now, I got my experiences multiple ways, but one of them was a vision. Oh, well, you can't have a vision. Well, guess what? In the Bible, Paul never met Jesus physically. He had a vision, and that's how he met him. People, Jesus was teaching that kind of technology, if you want to call it a word, or create some foundation around it. But how to get out of the body? What happens when you die? Jesus had to die. Had to die. He was trying to teach about life after death. If he couldn't do it, he couldn't prove it. He would have been useless to everybody. Even when he died, and before he came back, they were all walking away from the path. Mary Magdalene was the only one that kept them together and held them together until they were able to do what they had to do. She had to finish teaching them. She was an ascended master as well as Jesus was, and there was nobody else I know on this planet that were. Buddha, Gandhi, all these so-called names, Maharishi, you name all these names. None of them talk about God. Think about it. Why? They never met God. They never went into the higher realms of God. Don't understand why they're even here. Why are we here, people? Ask your teacher. Ask your master. Ask the, quote, spiritual guides that you use. Why are you here? To become a sixth-dimensional being? Save mankind? People, I'm not going to do a long show today. I'm pretty sick, and I don't want to keep going and blow all my energy out. But I will follow through in the next couple of days. I'm feeling a little bit better. But people, think about it. I'd like you to take notes. Why are you here? What is God? And on a piece of paper, put God is and God isn't. God is on one side, God isn't on the other. You can't say God is all things. You can't say that. Whatever you say God is, you have to write it down. Whatever you say God isn't, you have to write that down. God isn't what? Evil, angry, hateful? Really? Do you know anything about God? A real God? Not the man that sits there. Oh, you're a good person. Say 100 Hail Marys and come up to my place. Really? Do you know what Jesus was teaching? He talked about the many rooms in God's mansions, which he had to use words that they could understand. He couldn't say realms, because there's multiple realms to God, and very few people go past the astral plane. Most people reincarnate over and over. So yeah, you're on a slow path, but you're not moving forward much because you're not putting your attention on anything important. Give up everything, live in a cave for 40 years. What did you learn? Nothing. All right. You're out of touch with reality even when you come back. People, I'm going to give you homework because, I don't want to lose my voice. I kind of feel going crazy already. But think about it. Think what God is. What is God? What is heaven? What happens when you die? Where do you really go? What do you really do? Any of those questions? Can you answer any of them? Before you go to those realms, you have to know all those answers. It's like if I took you and dropped you up with a parachute in some middle of the jungle in some far off distant place, how long would you survive? When you're talking going to a realm where things aren't anywhere near normal, you don't eat, you pick an age, you do all kinds of weird things, but if you don't know any of it, guess what? You're in limbo. And you only get to see it when you die. Because most people can't stay in the astral plane and have to reincarnate. And your time frame there, being away from this planet, is about 5 to 10 years. So if you think I'm going to come back and my son's son or whatever, it's possible, but not practical. You don't become a superhero. You don't become an angel because you die. You're not the great protector. Oh, I'm protecting them. Really? A spaceship crashes on your house. This protector's going to stop it? Where do you think your protection comes from? What do you think God meant? What do you think Jesus was talking about? Soul, people, what you are, not your body. You are not your body. When he came back, he was not his body. That you got to let go of. You'll have multiple bodies if you keep coming back here. You have multiple bodies, astral body, mental body, causal body, etheric body, but they're all different. Not the same old hands, fingers, toes, and whatever, all right, which you're going to be dealing with for a long time. Until you make the decision to move out of this space into a better space. What's a better space? God realization, self-awareness, self-realization. Well, I'm self-realized. What's that mean? Self-realized means you know that you're under God. God realized means you understand God. Both of those spaces you have to fill before you can leave permanently. All right. You got a choice to walk the right path or wrong path. Well, there's no right or wrong. It's all illusion. Like I said, if it's a dream, why live in a dream? Is it that incredible, your dream? If it's a dream, make every speck of the dream incredible. Why do you got to put shit in it? Why do you? Why are you? Because it's not a dream. You are in hell. This is hell. You don't go to hell. You're in it. When Dante's Inferno wrote the different levels of hell, you burn, you freeze, you this, that, you do all those things here. You don't do that in your astral body. You can't chop your astral body in half. You can't burn it, freeze it. You can't do anything to it. It's eternal, immortal. But without that awareness, that word is useless. If you're not aware of all your incarnations, which you need to become aware of, why have a lifetime, go through it, and then forget it? Why learn something and forget it? The things you learn in this reality is basically for this reality. But since you're going to come back, you need it. If you know how to ride a horse, why come back and learn how to ride a horse again? If you know you stick your hand in fire and you burn it, why do it again? Over and over and over. Because you don't learn. You don't listen and you don't become aware. And you're not trying to. It's not complicated, people. You're living in hell. You're living under a false guise of this great protective God that if you're a Christian, then if you're a New Age person, the universe protects you. From what? Life, death? Really? You want to live forever? Why? You want to see all your families die, all your friends die, everything die around you? You got a choice. But you know, Moses was one of the highest black magicians on the planet. Black means kill. White magician means you don't kill. Jesus had more people killed than most beings on this planet ever did. All right. So when we talk about what do you want to be? Well, I want to be what? A person, a real person, honest person, loving person, compassionate person. To do what? To help people. You think you're here to help this planet? You think the planet needs your help in any way? To do what? It doesn't need you. It's like we're all a grain of sand on the beach. We're each a grain of sand. Any of those grains of sand mean anything to the beach? It would be nothing without all of them. But does it help being with all the grains of sand on the beach? No. Getting washed away and all different things happen. Now, There's multiple other things pertaining to psychics, clairvoyants, healers, medicine people, all these people claiming to have power over you, which they don't. The only power anybody gets is power you give over to them. With that, people, think about it, right? Why you're here, why you're not going to be here, where you're going to go, what God is, what everything else that I was talking about mean to you. Please analyze it. Think about it. Bring it into your awareness. Work on it. Next time I'll get into it a little more. We'll go over those questions and I'll give you the answers. Tommy Hawksblood here, Big Island of Hawaii. Hope your day, night's good. Email me, hawksblood1@aol.com. You want to talk directly? Skype, Hawksblood11. Peace, love, passion, whatever you need in your life. Don't stop until you get it. Short today, but like I said, I'm just getting over being sick and I don't want to get sick again. All right, people. Love and light. Till next time.